Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? Really like that. You really like that? Let's shut up and grab some tape. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Hey, got like what, 4 words for you? Great job, do better. Great job, do better. Okay, I was thinking about this today. Not that I'm some type of philosopher or philosophizer, but you know, a lot of times you get congratulations. Hey, great job. Great job on that show. Great job on that article. Great job doing that work this week. Great job at that game. But like the important part is to do better. So like every time you do a great job, understand that you can do better. So we have sayings around the wall. I have everybody that come through here and that mean things to our life or to our show. They come through, they sign the wall, they put things on the wall. I like to put things on the wall here like this one. This too shall pass. Whatever's going on, we've talked about that on this show. Whatever's going on in your life, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, no matter what, this too shall pass, right? It'll eventually get gone. I got some song lyrics and things, but just basically things that mean something to me. So I felt like, you know, riffing and opening with, hey, great job, do better, right? Great job wherever you're at today, but I promise you, you can do better. Hey, it's Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday. We do it every single Tuesday, every single Wednesday. Hot off the presser, I come running down the steps, fresh out the truck, fresh from media availability. Today, as usual, we had our boy, friend of the program, Cedric Van Pran Granger during media availability, as well as Dylan Bell. I always go in these with kind of pre-planned questions. You guys know this. Ced is obviously like a lot of Georgia football players, but very noticeably because he's a center, very noticeably spends a lot of time watching film, okay, evaluating his opponents. And year over year, particularly when you play a divisional opponent and you play a lot of football like he has, you get like super familiar with like what to expect or what to see. I mean, even me, I've studied Kentucky now for 3-4 years now on film, like real hard, looking at what they do or who they are, what they are culturally, how they play schematically. And I'll tell you what, they look very, very familiar every single year. There's not a ton of change. Even like, body compositions, what people look like at certain positions, there hasn't been a bunch of change year over year. And I asked, Cedric, when you study them, how have they evolved and what's been the consistent message and physicality? It's what we hear every single week when Kentucky, or every single year when Kentucky comes through. And I think it's a point of emphasis in the building. It must be, so there's not that sense of shell shock, that I think a lot of opponents get with Kentucky. If you look at Kentucky's history under Mark Stoops, do they win a lot of tight games or do they roll a lot of football teams? I think they either lose tight games or roll, right? And I think that's a microcosm of teams either are willing to stand in there and punch with that football team and get hit and hit back and play physical, or they get rolled. They get rolled right over. And I thought Florida got rolled over. And that's something that I don't believe will ever happen to Georgia until they just don't have dudes against a football program like Kentucky. You're telling me the objective is to make sure we're ready for a physical football game? I mean, that's who Georgia is. They like start with physicality. So it really is a meshing or a combination of styles, if you will. He was asked obviously about the frustrations with the run blocking. I thought he pointed out something we pointed out on film. We talked about touchdown blocks this week on film and how much of an emphasis I would place in those rooms when they happen. When you make a touchdown block, I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind because Cedric talked about it today. You are one block away from breaking the big one. You are always one block away. And as an offensive lineman or as a wide receiver or as anybody who does not have the ball, not a quarterback, you have to pursue every single block like that. You might be the one. You might be the touchdown block. Like you're the last guy to get the last cutoff block on the backside. You have to run like your hair's on fire because the one time you don't, we might need that one. You know what I'm saying? And like defensively, I don't really know the parallel here in terms of like always, it's pursuit of the football. That's exactly what it is. It's the same thing. On defense, when you pursue the ball like your life is dependent upon it. On the offensive side of the ball, you have to do the same thing. And I think there has been one guy didn't do their job. 4 guys did, 1 guy didn't. And when Dejon Edwards isn't in the game, it's noticeable. Y'all don't rip off 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yard gains when guys aren't doing their job or all 5 guys aren't winning. So I thought that was noticeable and something that stood out for me. This is also a huge week for Cedric, and it's something I asked him about, and it always comes back to me somehow, but I don't know how to otherwise relate to this or explain this to other people. Okay, I was a center that was very undersized, always had to, win like being smart. Like most centers, they're undersized. They're not talented. They're not 5 stars. They're not future top 60 picks, right? They're not always Cedric Van Pran Granger. A lot of the times, centers have been moved there because they couldn't play elsewhere, right? I was one of those guys. So when I get asked, hey, do you like being covered or uncovered as a center? Well, I sure as hell like to be uncovered, meaning nobody's over me, right? We're playing an even front. I got a nose tackle on my left shoulder or maybe on the right shoulder of my left guard, and I got a 3 technique way over there, right? That's what an even front does to me. And as a center, I'm now uncovered. So a lot of the time, I'm kind of playing half a man on a down lineman and working up to a linebacker, right? I'm an assistant. That's all I am that day. It's not my job. My job is to make sure everybody gets in the right place. Hey, we got a blitzer. I'm going to take that undersized linebacker and I'm going to handle him. That was my mindset as a center. And I think a lot of centers carry that mindset, okay? Because we are undersized guys that have been bumped in, okay? When I asked Cedric, hey, uncovered, covered, this is a big covered week for you. They're not just a team that plays mint. They're not just a team that plays a little bit of zero. They're not a team that just plays some shade. No, this team features a true zero, going to stand on your ass all game long at the center position. Cedric immediately said, I prefer that. I like being covered. I like knowing what my responsibility is. I like knowing that there's an immediacy to it, that this is my guy. And, sir, that just, again, He's one of those. Like the most center, I don't know. I haven't spoken to thousands of centers, but I promise you, I've listened to Jason Kelsey talk. I know for a fact he don't like base blocking. Okay, so there are certain guys, and this is a big week for him. He's going to be covered all week, and they got some good ones. He mentioned number 9 from Kentucky. I looked him up today, about 6'4", 320 from North Carolina. So big zeros. Over there. What do y'all think about Kentucky in general? I got some Dylan Bell thoughts. Welcome in, by the way. We got a great show planned for you guys. We got a whole lot of stuff going on. Kirby's got everybody set off this week. Carson Beck, we teased some stats yesterday. Didn't get to them. That's how absolutely slam-packed and loaded yesterday's show was. I know there's a melding together of Brave fans and Georgia Bulldog fans tonight. Apparently, Jay Will is going to educate yours truly on whatever these Bravos are doing, because I ran out of bandwidth, okay, or fanwidth, if you will, for the Bravos. Just too much time. I compare being a Braves fan or being a baseball fan in general, being a good one, to being a good golfer. It requires like 3 hours a day. Like if you're going to be a good baseball fan, you got to go out to the range and you got to hit balls every single day, even when it's boring.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Taxing.
So. Yeah, I can't really do that. But I can't wait for you guys to explain to me what the similarities are, because apparently we're Spider-Man memeing right here in the state, in the Peach State. This is one of my favorites. We didn't get to it yesterday. Does Brock Bowers deserve his jersey retired by the time he's done playing? We're going to talk about that. Kirby Smart's got everybody up in arms, of course. But welcome in. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Also want to give a shout out to our friends at Prize Picks, prizepicks.com. Promo code Brooks will get you a 100% deposit match today. Okay, what does that mean? You put in up to $100. They will match you instantly on the spot. Okay, 100% deposit match over there. That's a free hundo waiting for you, okay? And it might just cost you a hundo. A little BOGO, essentially, for you over there on Prize Picks, okay? And I know, I always forget it. Always forget it. What is it? Flex Friday.
Flex Friday.
Flex Friday right around the corner. Thursday night props right around the corner. Okay, and them Saturday props, they're going to hit the lines probably, tomorrow morning? I would imagine over there on Prize Picks. So a lot going on. Use promo code Brooks over there today. And go ahead and get an addiction started because addictions are dope. You know what I mean? So go on and get you one over there. Go on and get you one over there. Let me give you these thoughts on Dillon Bell before we move any further. It's interesting. My first thought when you got to learn two positions, and especially when it's like thrown on you late, it's not like this was something they planned for all summer. I don't imagine. Maybe they gave them some looks in the spring, but in terms of packages, I would imagine they didn't start designing these until mid-August, maybe early September when Branson got hurt. That's probably when things got emergency, like break glass. We got to use Dillon Bell. So as a football player, Bobo just got here, so we got new terminology and everything. It's not new terminology. It's kind of the same system, but there are tweaks, and I'm learning different things, and I'm trying to grow my role as a Z receiver and an X potential receiver for this roster, and I'm trying to learn and trying to grow, and then bam, hey, we need you to come over here and learn some packages at running back as well. My first inclination as a football mind is, damn, I bet he's busting assignments. So when I look for it on tape, I'm like, hey, are we not running correct routes? Route trees are hard to actually judge unless you got two guys running in the same spot. Somebody must have busted. But with the finer details of whether or not you have a busted assignment, I don't know at the wide receiver position. I'll tell you right now, though, at the running back position, there hasn't been any. There's not been like, oh, he misread that, or, oh, that was a bad cut, or, oh, he was really impatient there. It's looked really, really smooth for him. And I asked him, hey, are we busting any assignments? And he I always know the guys when they're kind of like taken back, like, oh shit, that's a football question. This was one of those moments. He kind of gave me one of those, and then he was like, smiled. He's like, I'll be honest, I was busting assignments the first couple weeks in practice. And it kind of sounds like he does Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. But at the end of the week, it sounds like they give him a full clear up. By the end of Friday, he has everything nailed down, and he doesn't bust assignments during Saturday. So I would love to know the ins and outs, how they do that. I think the honest answer is the running back package is really simplified, but you run into causing or creating tendencies if you make it too simple. Okay, so in other words, if the defense knows every time 86 is at running back, he's getting the ball, we can key off that. Right? If every single time Dillon Bell is back there and it's a passing situation, we know they're in five-man protection. You see what I'm saying? Because we know he's checking out. We know he's not going to be in pass pro. If you don't continue to enhance the role, if you don't continue to add on to the spice of the offense in that particular set, you're going to create some type of tendencies, and that's the worst thing you can have as an offense. We don't want to have tendencies unless we have tendency breakers built off of those. So, but no, dope to hear that he is not busting assignments. That's a credit to the staff. That's also a credit to his just football intellect as a whole. Also wanted to know, and this was obvious, hey, you don't have to choose. You know that, right? You don't have to choose between running back and wide receiver anymore. We want you to be a receiver. We want you to enter the league as a receiver because you'll get paid more. They'll value you more. But guys like Deebo Samuel do exist, okay? Guys like Ty Montgomery do exist. Guys that played receiver in college that have found roles as a dual hybrid wide receiver slot guy and a running back, guess what? They're getting paid a lot of money. And when I asked him about this, again, face lit up, very clear. He knew the names. He knew every single guy that's in the league right now that is getting paid as a receiver that takes running back carries. He has very clearly studied this, and it is very clearly something that he might aspire to do. I wish we had the time to cut the sound up. You guys can go check it out. We're going to have it up on Dogs Daily after the show. But, yeah, it was very noticeable to me that he knows that there's a possibility that this Deebo Samuel role might be available to him in the league.
I mean, why not add something else to your bag?
The whole show got the crud. The whole show. I'm feeling it. It's creeping up on me.
Oh, I'm good now. I'm on the downward end of it.
You're on the backside. Everything's loose?
Yeah.
All right, everything's loose. So I think it's starting to get me.
I've been pounding some vitamin C.
You know what I mean?
That's just how it goes, you know?
Chat's saying Cordero Patterson. Cordero Patterson is this in the sense that he plays both. But, ladies and gentlemen, Cordero Patterson is a unicorn. Mm-hmm. Cordero Patterson is 6'3", 240 pounds, and he broke into the league as a kickoff returner after being a receiver at Tennessee. He is, he is one of a kind. He is a jack of one trade. There ain't a lot of those.
Yeah, it's why the Falcons created a singular label just for him, the Joker role.
Absolutely. But no, just thoughts on the idea of using Dylan more as like that Debo role. I could see adding in, and it's that cheat motion. We were listening to this sound from Kyle Shanahan the other day where, the Dolphins are running Tyreek Hill in that horizontal motion and then snapping the ball at the snap. It's making its way into college. I saw Kentucky run it this morning when I looked at the film. But the timing was all jacked up. But I could see, my point being, Shanahan and the Dolphins and all these good pro-style, modern offenses in the league, they have found unique ways to stress defenses with right immediate snap motion. I think Dylan Bell's the key to maybe Georgia doing some of that.
I think that's just the way offenses are going to evolve. You look at the way things have gone, fullback's gone now, even outside linebacker. Things evolve like that to the point where that's kind of, I think, what's going to become what the running back position is, where now you have guys who are undervalued at the running back position, so wide receivers are going to take that spot where you have more Debo Samuel, Cordero Patterson guys that take that role like Dylan Bell. I think this is a trend you're going to start to see more and more of.
Yeah, I mean, again, like if you're a running back, they've always told you if you want to add to your skill set, be a guy on third down. I don't know if it's the inverse. I don't know if we can add to our – that's a funny shot. I just watched it, watching my fat belly walk around that screen. I don't know if it's an added value if you're a receiver and we could just do it a little bit. I think Debo is very unique in the sense that his skill set is very valuable to the 49ers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why they invested in him so heavily. I think he's like a top 5 receiver target or pay.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be like an overnight thing, but I think you are going to start to see more and more of these hybrid guys where it's like, oh, this guy can run routes as a receiver and running back, can take snaps as that. So,
Yeah. What else did I get from him? That was pretty much it. That is hot off the presser. And there you go. I enjoy those segments. Those are good riffs. I told you I had 12 minutes in me. I gave you 21.
Heck yeah.
How about that?
Elite.
Well, 5-minute ticker. I gave you 16. You know what I mean? What we got next, boys? Where do we want to go? Do we want to talk about these Carson Beck stats? I think we need to start here.
Yeah. I think
Give
we
me
do
these because this is some crazy, crazy stuff.
All right. So I think mostly your take on Carson Beck being a third down, having all the decisions.
Preseason was just.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what pro'd me to kind of look into these stats. So I wanted to see how successful Carson Beck has been on third down. And boy, if that ain't the truth. Carson Beck has thrown for 597 yards this is in the third quarter. Let me switch around real quick. Let me get the third down stats first.
Yes.
His third down stats, he's 25 for 35, 71% completion rate, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, 19 first downs converted. On 3rd and 7 or more yards to go, he's 14 of 18, 164 yards. That's where his 2 touchdowns came from, 10 first downs converted on those situations. He's also
14 of 18 on 3rd and 7 plus?
Yes. And he's converted 10 first downs on those situations.
My God.
And he's also tied for 5th for first downs converted on third down amongst all FBS quarterbacks.
That one right there. All those are crazy. I mean, the fact that he's got 1,400 yards, right?
Yeah.
1,395.
Yeah.
So what's that? I mean, 1/6 of his yardage is on third down. That's insane. But the 3rd and 7 plus numbers are crazy. I would want to know what the industry standard success rates are, meaning what is the college football average conversion rate on 3rd and 7 plus, because it can't be high.
No.
Like, in fact, that is like when we do third down cut-ups, y'all talk about Kirby Smart and all of his, intricacies that he does. He talks about the third down cut-up every week. It's what he studies on Sunday nights. Okay, he watches the entire third down cut-up around the league. Every single league game, he watches third downs, because it's basically how you win football games. And when we do those cut-ups, it's 3rd and short, 3rd and medium, 3rd and long. How do we break this down? 3rd and short is 3rd and 2 and under. 3rd and medium is 3rd and 5 in between. 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 5 in between. 3rd and long, okay, immediately begins at 3rd and 7. Okay? So anytime we get 7+ yardage, we're automatically, statistically, like defensive coordinators have changed their mindset. They are completely doing different stuff. You are now in 3rd and long. Okay, now our lights gear up. We are basically, that's like 3-0 as a hitter. All right, we got the green light, baby. We get to throw our bag at this dude. So he's been facing this over and over again. 14 of 18 on 3rd and 7+. That blows my ever-loving mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be good. Not that good.
Yeah,
that's insane.
It's elite, top of the nation.
Is it right there?
I mean, yeah, basically he's top 5 in every single 3rd down stat category amongst quarterbacks, basically. And his 3rd quarter stats are unreal too.
I would say he just now got hit like a true, what the offense feels as a number 1 wide receiver back too. Like Dominic Lovett or Ra Thomas didn't feel like a number 1 target through the first 4 games. Ladd McConkey immediately inserted himself as that on 3rd and long. So yeah, that's nuts. You got something?
No, I just think that's crazy.
Give me those 3rd quarter stats.
So he's thrown for 597 yards in the 3rd quarter of this season, the 2nd most in the entire country, only behind Shedeur Sanders. His 3rd quarter stats: 38 of 48, 79 completion rate, 597 yards, 3 touchdowns, 9 passing plays that have gone for 25 yards or more. That's 1st in the nation.
I saw today he's 2nd in the SEC in passing yardage.
Yeah.
Behind who?
Jaden Daniels by a good minute too. It's like 300 yards.
Yeah.
Well, he did just put up 600 on last Saturday.
Yeah, no. Jaden Daniels is chunking like 50 times a game. No, it was all of the reasons we talked about in preseason that I felt this was going to be the case. When I hear coaches talk about how much you have the answers, right? That's what we keep talking about with the quarterback position. Answers. Are you always aware of what's going on? And this idea of evaluating quarterbacks based off whether or not they have the answers came from the first press conference post-game this year when Kirby Smart talked about Carson coming off the field and having the answers, having exactly what he saw and knowing what he saw. And when you have that type of, it's almost like picture retention, being able to know exactly what you've seen and see it clearly in post. That's what he has, and he has an ability, I don't know, he just sees things so clearly. And then that's why I didn't know, but that's why I thought, like, watching the spring tape, I got a feeling. Watching him always play, like click through his reads and play on time, I had a feeling that this was going to be a guy that was going to be elite on 3rd down because he wasn't going to take sacks. You take sacks on 3rd down, you're going to be bad on 3rd down.
Yeah. Maybe that's why people just kind of don't feel like he's flashing on Saturdays because he almost is so fundamental and so clean.
There's no sauce at all. I mean, he dresses with sauce. That's about the end of the sauce. There's no sauce in the personality in public personas. Now, his friends, I'm sure his teammates get a very different view of who he is. But outward, very, very dry almost. And the game is almost dry, but it's efficient and it's methodical.
Because I feel like every single game this year, it's been like some people are a little critical of Carson throughout the game, and then the game ends, and you look at the box score, it's like, oh, he threw for 313 yards and 2 touchdowns today. Like, would have never guessed it.
And only had 10 incompletions, and 3 of them were drops.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the inverse of Stetson Bennett in that Stetson Bennett was criticized because he took too many risks with the ball. He wasn't efficient enough. And now that's kind of why you were begging for him in the first place. Now you have a guy who doesn't take as many risks, isn't going to be taking as many deep shots, and people are criticizing him for that. So I think it's very interesting to watch how Jordan – and it's gotten better as the season's gone on. But at the start, people were very critical of Carson Beck for the opposite reasons that they were critical of Stetson Bennett. So.
Well, a classic case of can't never win.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, I think at this point we got to start talking about how well he's played, not talking about, all right, guys, he's good. You know, I feel like we spent the first 4 or 5 weeks explaining to people that, no, we think this guy's really, really good. And then he goes on the road and proves it. It goes back to that my high school football coach, shouts out Kenny D with the Warriors sword back here. He's talking about we thought we knew, but now we know. There's a lot of this in the football world. And I don't know if you felt it in the sporting world in general. There's a lot of false confidence until the whistle blows, until plays happen, right? We thought we knew. We thought we knew going into a football game or going into a football season that so-and-so was going to be really good. Okay, we thought we knew, but we didn't have any reason to know. We just thought we knew. But now we know. I thought I knew Carson Beck was going to check all the boxes, know all the answers, play on time, and be as fundamentally sound as I always thought he was. But it was just I thought I knew. Now I know. Watching him go to Auburn, I know. 5 games in, I know. So I think we should talk about this Braves and Dogs Spider-Man meme. Spider-Man meme, is that the most used? What do you think the most used meme on the internet is? I'm sure this is very Googleable.
Most used meme.
Let me look that up because I don't.
But anyways,
There's so many.
There are so many. Give me the. You wrote this in the show notes.
Yeah.
How are the Atlanta Braves and the Georgia Bulldogs so similar?
Well, I think it mostly stems from, like, if you want to talk about the golden age of sports, you look no further than the state of Georgia right now. The Braves have won 6 straight division titles. Georgia has won 5 of the last 6. Both of them have titles within the last 2 years. Georgia, of course, having 2. The Braves won in 2021, right before Georgia won their national title. And now both are in a position to go and win another title this year. And then I think it's also just like when you look at both teams, they're so similar to one another. Like, the Braves right now have one of the best players in baseball, potentially could go down as one of the best players ever. That's what Georgia has in Brock Bowers. Like, Acuna just put up the first ever 40 home run, 70 stolen base season in MLB history. Brock Bowers is doing things that the league has never seen before. And it's just like they lose, like the Braves, they lost cornerstone players. They lost Dansby Swanson. They lost Freddie Freeman. And that was kind of the case with Georgia. And everybody thought this was going to be huge losses for the Braves. Those are clubhouse guys. Those are guys that are going to be hard for them to replace. And the same thing was with Georgia. When they had all those guys going to the NFL draft, when you had Jordan Davis in that 2021 class, and then even the 2022 class after that, nobody thought that they would be able to recover. And now the Braves are continuing their dominance. The Georgia has continued their dominance. And they've just kind of pieced together these organizations and these programs that are built for longevity. And I think you could even draw comparisons between Brian Snitker and Kirby Smart. I think they're both eerily similar in the way that they run their business.
Both, well, Snitker's a little friendlier to the media, it sounds like, but both snarky with the media at times. I would think Snitker's much more of a – they're both players, coaches. They both are. Like, Kirby's guys love him. I mean, I don't even see him screaming at guys anymore that much.
No.
I could be wrong. It happens all the time at practice, but, like, we haven't seen a come unglued on the sideline, red-faced Kirby in quite a while.
I feel like it's happened this season.
But not – I felt like used to – when I first started watching, like, Georgia games closely, like really studying TV copies and really studying film, man, he was so what do you call it? When there's like you show a lot of emotions. He was very, very physically emotional. Jumping up and down, red-faced, ripping the visor off his head. He would lose the headphones once a game or something like that. I don't think we see that much more. Much more on the sideline.
I would agree with that.
I think he's become more like Snitker in that mouth temperament, but he still got it. He's still got some oh shit, stay away from coach today. You know what I mean? I don't feel like Snitker ever gives us that. Where else do we have some similarities here? Because you were rolling here.
I think you could, like, the way they configure their rosters, I think are very similar as well. Like, you have your national guys like Ronald Acuna is from Venezuela, Ozzie Albies is from Curacao. So you recruit, in a sense, at a national level for the Atlanta Braves. Georgia does the same thing as well. You know, Dylan Raiola this last class, while he is in Georgia now, that was a national guy. You're getting guys from California, Florida, everywhere across the United States. But then you also have your Matt Olsons, a guy that grew up at Parkview High School, grew up an Atlanta Braves fan. Dansby Swanson was the same way. It's Georgia guys mixed in with a bunch of national guys. I think that's why the clubhouse works so well, why Georgia's roster configuration works so well. It's like a nice little blend of everything.
You know, we had my man's deliver his first fiery take, just burying Saban in the Bama legacy. And I felt a sense of pride, like my boy done grown up as a show member right there in that moment. Mans, you just had yours. Okay, you just that was well thought out. That was well drawn out. My only question: who's the Alex Anthopoulos at UGA? Who is the mastermind behind the roster construction? Is it the unit as a whole? Is it everybody? Who's the mastermind of this whole thing? Because I think if we could point to that Braves organization, I think the number from an outsider's perspective, I look at it, I'm like, man. Y'all stole Ozzie Albies and y'all stole Ronald Acuna for their salaries, right? Yeah. and y'all ran off on some trades, right? Who is it? Y'all got a shortstop.
Jorge Soler.
Oh my God, Jorge
all
Soler.
of them.
Y'all had a middle
Jock
infielder.
Peterson, middle
Rosario,
infield.
Eddie Rosario. Y'all picked him up, and it was
Yeah.
like, what? How'd they get this guy? Like, it's been a bunch of that. So who's the mastermind? Because we had I guess Kirby gets the Snicker and the Anthopoulos role.
Yeah, he might have to. I don't know, because it's also a little different for college because, like, I don't know. It's just I think it's a little different compared to college football and baseball, obviously, because I think you have a lot more coaches on staff specifically for college because there's a lot more recruiting going on and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think you can also draw comparisons between, like, Ron Washington, obviously big-time players guy, like Todd Hartley, big-time players guy. Everybody loves Todd
This
Hartley.
man's cooking,
Everybody loves Ron Washington. I'm telling you, you look at I've been sitting on this one for a while, and I've been analyzing it, and I'm like, these guys are so similar to one another. It's almost like they talk to one another, and I think they do. I think you've seen
Kirby's a diehard Braves fan.
yeah, and you've seen Brian Snick and Kirby Smart have conversations, and I think you can see it in the way that they run their teams. Like it's almost ideally similar.
I'm gonna sneak you into a presser one day and get you to ask this question. Okay, the next road game, which apparently isn't gonna be Vandy, that you're credentialed for, you're gonna ask this just out of the blue. Maybe not post game.
Yeah.
This is a Tuesday press conference question. Definitely. This is a Tuesday press conference question, and maybe we can sneak it in there. Maybe I'll do it next Tuesday. Hey, Coach, this one comes from my boy at Dr_J_Will. How similar are you in them Bravos, baby? Chop till you drop. Amen?
Amen.
I think that'd be pretty cool. Nah, Mans was cooking right
He
there.
was.
Kerr.
He was.
That was a good
Very
little
nice.
segment, my man.
Very nice.
That was,
Joe.
my man said, clear out. I got this one. You had no ISOs in the basketball game, did you?
Nah, man.
You get them now, though, don't you?
I do now, but not back in high school. I was go beat them down low, man. Get some boards.
Yeah,
just grind it out
banging,
for us.
playing.
Yeah,
down there in
that's
the
it,
box,
man. Your 190-pound ass, get down there and do what you can.
Hey, we got a bunch of love right now in the chat. People just thanking us for our work and our hard work and telling us that they enjoy the podcast and they don't miss any episode. We are available on your podcast platforms. I think it's dope now. Spotify's got video capabilities. We upload every single one of these on MP4s. So I prefer you to watch us on YouTube. I think you should do both. I think you should do both. I think you should watch us on YouTube, and then when you're in the car, I think you should pick us up on Spotify. That way you're not having to watch us, but maybe at a red light, you pull it up, and you can actually see what's going on, things like that. So that would be how I would watch our show. Last night when we got done, I took my fat butt for a jog and just listened to it on Spotify. And then when things got a little sus and we had some good laughter, I wanted to watch it, so I stopped and watched it. So I think Spotify does a great job of melding together again. Shouts out to Ricky, Bobby, and Reese. Does a great job of putting both together for you guys over there. And we do upload it as fast as we can after the show. So I had a bunch of people hit us up with the complaint, and it's a good complaint to have, about having too much content to watch, because it is a lot. I counted it up. I think it's 12 or 13 hours a week of content on this channel. If you subscribe to everything, right? If you're subscribed to YouTube, Monday through Thursday, you get 10 hours of live content, or 8 hours of live content, right? You get an hour of film study on Monday, most likely, 45 minutes of film study on Monday. If you're watching Friday Night's Mike, you're getting that on Monday too. That's another 30, 35-minute episode as well. And then, there's just a bunch of stuff going on here. And then if you're subscribed on Patreon, we basically are at the point now where we're doing 2 or 3 private film studies over there on patreon.com/Brooks Austin. So there is a bunch of stuff going on here. And the plan, I'm not even going to lie to you. As the kids say, I'm not even going to cap. My plan is to completely consume your life. I ain't going to lie to you. That's my plan. I want to be on every single time you have a television on. I want to be talking to you and say, what's up, my family? I don't know if that's going to catch on.
that.
You got to say filmily.
Filmily.
You said filmily.
Because it rolled. I was nervous. It was the first time. I didn't plan.
I like it.
It's
It's gonna stick.
Filmily. You don't force them, but sometimes you got to. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to just force it in. Brock Bowers, retirement, jersey, possibly. Give me the jersey numbers that are retired at the University of Georgia. We talked about this the other day. Who are they?
So there's been 4. Herschel Walker, obviously.
34. Let me see if I can, hold on. Let me see if I can guess these numbers.
All right, go ahead.
Charlie Tribby,
What's the number?
40?
Right number, wrong person.
He played running back, right? Kind of was a hybrid athlete.
He just did he was the team.
He was the team.
He was the whole team.
The guy you're thinking of is Theron Sapp.
42?
No.
I don't know. What was his
Charlie
name?
Trippi was 62.
Yo,
Yeah.
that's hideous.
Yeah.
Shouts out. I mean, Charlie Trippi, you're a goat, but that's hideous. Paul Hornung, no, sorry. Who's number 40?
Theron Sapp. He played fullback.
Y'all retired 40 for a fullback?
Yeah.
Mans must have been the devil. What else?
There's one more.
It's got to be the Heisman winner, right?
Yeah. Who was it?
Hornung.
No.
That's a Packer. Man, I'm bad at this. I'll get it eventually, but I'm not going to sit here on live air and
You want
strike
to
out.
come back to it?
No,
I'll skip
just
that.
give me the name.
His name was Frank Sinkwich. He wore number
Sinkwich,
21.
of course. Golly, that's bad. You know what I first did when I got hired to cover the University of Georgia?
Went back, look at all the history.
Nope. I bought a book, The History of the Georgia Bulldogs, and it would like walk you through all of these historic characters, and you can see what my retention rate is of these things. This is how, again, y'all think I'm lying to you when I tell you I am not a Georgia fan. I am not a Georgia fan. I mean, shit, there's Tom Brady stuff around here. There's a Kobe Bryant thing over there. Dale Earnhardt's in the living room. Yeah. I mean, I'm just the guy that loves sports. I don't love it enough to remember Frank Sinkwich's number. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Paul Hornung.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know why? Because I'm related to him. And again, everything comes back to me. Everything comes back to me.
guy.
But if I'm related to the guy, you think I'd know where he fucking went to school. Notre Dame. He's a Notre Dame guy. I should know that. Hey, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Like, subscribe, and rate, and review, and all that good stuff. But back to this conversation. Does Brock Bowers, I mean, honestly, he's better than a lot of those, or not a lot of those football players. I don't want to be disrespectful because we have a much older audience than I thought here on YouTube. So shouts out to the old heads, the OGs. So the OGs, please correct us in this thought process. Brock Bowers is better or more important to the success, the premier success of Georgia football than anybody on that list other than Herschel Walker.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, Herschel Walker, he's arguably the greatest running back of all time. Won the Heisman in 1982. Part of your kind of only national championship prior to last.
Not kind of. It really was.
Yeah, I mean, there's the 42 one, but I don't know if that counts. Frank Sinkwich was your first Heisman winner. Charlie Trippi, I think, definitely deserves that. I went over a couple months ago. We talked
that
about
was
that.
insane.
He's like the most dynamic
He might be
athlete
the
in
greatest
UGA
athlete
history.
ever.
And then Theron Sapp, the only thing that they really had on him was he ended an 8-year losing streak against Georgia Tech when he scored the only touchdown in 1957.
Shouts out.
Other than that, there's not a whole lot of accolades for him. So it's not like there's necessarily guidelines you have to get your jersey retired.
I mean, the good news is it's a bunch of mid-ass numbers. 34 is pretty dope.
Yeah.
But like, okay, no one gets to wear 62. Who's really crying? You
The
know what I
long
mean?
snapper.
Like, damn, shit, 62 ain't available.
I mean, 19's kind of not that cool either. Like,
That's what I'm saying. This is what I was thinking about it today. When
Yeah.
I was driving, I was like, bro, 19 is so ugly and mid anyways. It just looks good on him. I don't think and you know what? I think he wore like 8 in high school.
yeah, he was a single digit.
He was a
about
single
right.
digit number in high school. So you know what Brock Bowers is wearing 19 for? Because he got issued it, and they just okay, I'm 19 now.
Cool.
Cool. Okay, coach. You know what I mean?
Thank
like,
you, sir.
It
Brock-
is not special to him either.
Brock definitely doesn't strike me as a guy to care about his number.
Fuck no. Hell no.
But I mean, think of this resume. The only tight end to win 2 Mackey Awards and the national championship drop, possibly wins 3 national titles.
Yeah.
Like, there's a world where Brock Bowers loses one singular game in his career at Georgia.
Yo, that's nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he loses more than 3 in his career. 3 seasons, 3 losses is insane. Holds a school record for touchdowns. Holds a school record for receiving yards in a season. How do you not retire that number? Like, what more would you have to do? I get kind of the argument where people are like, Stetson shouldn't have his retired. But Brock Bowers, when he dominates a statistical category at receiving as a tight end and is part of what is the greatest part of UGA's football history, how do you not retire that number?
I think the proper answer to that question is Stetson gets his statue and you retire Brock Bowers' number.
Yeah, because he probably doesn't want a statue out in front of a building of himself.
No, Brock Bowers doesn't want the statue. He's cool with having his name up there.
He
in the
really
stadium.
probably doesn't want to come back for the jersey ceremony. 93,000 people looking at him without a helmet on, without anything to go, just like he wants to be secluded. And I think that's dope about him. I think it's going to make the draft process really, really interesting. Do you think like a New York team stays away from him?
Why? Because he doesn't like to be on camera?
No, just because it's not just being on camera, dude. Like, it's every single day in the locker room, 35 people standing in front of you, sticking a camera in your face. It's not, it's very, like, he has to come out and do media 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 times a year at Georgia, and it's 7 or 8 friendly faces, and it's very secluded, and, it's a tight roped club. It ain't like that in the league.
I think if you're an NFL organization and you pass on Brock Bowers because he might be scared to do media availability.
I'm just throwing it out there, bro.
No,
like,
there's no way that's why you pass on. If anything, it's because he's undersized. He's all the hack.
So you think teams are more apropos to avoid him because he's undersized than avoid him because he might be completely uncomfortable living where we're at? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he can't fit in everywhere. He's not going to be great everywhere. But I'm saying if there were a question about him as a football player at all, if I were the New York Giants, the only question is, in every other football team, you just draft him immediately. I'm just talking about a major market. It would be the only thing. In the bottom of the notes, I would say draft him now, prepare him for the swamp. Because it's a rush of media.
I mean, that's fine. I get that, but that's not going to keep you from drafting him. If you're drafting on draft day and Brock Bowers is available, you're absolutely going. I mean, Nick Chubb wasn't a guy who loved talking in the media. No, Nick Chubb is like notorious for being shy.
And he's in Cleveland.
I always have loved that clip of him at the airport, Nick Chubb after being drafted.
But here's the difference for me between Nick Chubb and Bowers. Chubb doesn't like the media and will be rude. Like, not rude. He'll be standoffish. He'll be short. He'll get in and out. Bowers is an efforter enough to be uncomfortable and continue to try.
Yeah.
I've sat in those rooms with him. He's trying hard. He just don't. He's very uncomfortable. So I don't know. That's all I'm saying. Like, it would be my only hey, we got to not avoid him, but we got to prepare him for this.
Yeah, I mean that's some of the baggage these first-round picks have.
Yeah, if that's your question, then we're good.
I think no one's going to be like...
He's an inch too short for our top 5 standards, and we're probably going to make him feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, if those are your 2 negatives you have against him, draft him right now. And if you pass on because of that, you're a poverty organization.
You're dog water. Let's play these Kirby Smart comments because apparently they have everyone up in arms. I get it. You know what? I sit in these rooms now, so every time he says something, and I know, oh shit, that's going viral.
Yep.
At that point in the room, it's like a race to what. But this one, I felt like he was very thrown off by the question, didn't really understand the question, and just did the thing that he always does.
I personally think every SEC team should be ranked. I guarantee you, there's some teams that don't want to play them that are ranked. I mean, I literally have no idea what you're referencing because every team we play in the SEC is good enough to beat us. And whether they're ranked or not, I could care less. I'm trying to be more physical than them and outscore them. And it's the only thing I'm concerned with, not their ranking.
I think every team in the SEC should be ranked. I mean, sounds like a hot take. It is a hot take.
It is a hot take.
It is a hot take. And the reason being there is no quarterback play in this conference outside of a handful of teams. I shouldn't say there's no quarterback play. It's very inconsistent quarterback play. And apparently 3/4 of the conference can't play defense.
Yeah,
looks that way.
Some bad defenses.
It's some bad defenses. Again, from teams who historically, I don't expect Ole Miss to play defense.
Yeah.
I expect LSU to show up and play some damn defense.
Mm-hmm.
And that hadn't happened. So he's not right in that sense. The SEC's having definitely a down year. But from a who would you favor on a neutral field standpoint, that comes down to dudes on paper, and I still think the SEC has an advantage there. The reason the Pac-12 is the Pac-12 right now is because they have 5 of the nation's top quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean, elite quarterback.
Slap out elite quarterback play out there. So, Vandy out of the discussion, Mississippi State out of the discussion, Florida out of the discussion. The rest of the teams, I think you could. Who am I missing here?
Arkansas
out of the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say Mississippi State?
Yes.
That's it.
So 10 of the 14 teams we think have reasons to be hey, they could be any of the top 20 teams in the country.
I mean, from that standpoint, I would agree.
20 to 25, because that's, bro, like seriously, 20 to 25 in the bottom of the AP rankings midway through the season. What's the fucking difference between team ranked 22 and team ranked 44?
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot midway through the season. So
it gets to the point where it's like, oh, Fresno State's undefeated. Let's put them at 25.
But what you guys in the show notes said he had everybody up in arms. What is everybody bitching about?
Well, because everybody's doing the thing of like, oh, SEC bias, like everybody thinks the SEC is superior, all that stuff.
It's not even as much that as it is Georgia has been criticized since the schedules came out for having a weak schedule.
Yeah.
And now that they haven't been absolutely thrashing teams, people are accusing Kirby Smart of saying, oh, you're trying to make your schedule look harder than it is because you know you don't have a good team. That's kind of what a lot of the argument is here was, oh, Kirby Smart's so full of shit. Now he's trying to make his schedule look tougher by saying all SEC teams should be ranked, which if you know Kirby Smart, he doesn't give a shit about rankings.
Anybody out here giving USC smoke for a 7-point win as a 21.5 point favorite?
No, because Caleb Williams is good.
Anybody out here giving Arizona or Washington smoke for having a one-score game with Arizona?
I heard
Anybody out? I mean, Michigan's kind of dominated everybody. Ohio State didn't look great against Indiana. I mean, everybody has these games.
Florida State didn't look that great against Boston College.
Correct. I mean, they all have these games. They all have these games that they get kind of stuck. Texas didn't look great in the first half against Wyoming, right? Alabama didn't look great against USF. Like, we could go through the list every single week. You know what that is? That's college football is what that is. And I do agree that this conference is tough to play. I mean, breaking news, playing in the SEC is hard. And I think it's hard because the line of scrimmage play here, despite whatever you say about the quarterback play in this conference right now or the consistencies on the offensive or defensive sides of the football, the lines of scrimmage in this conference are invested in heavily, okay, by the NFL for a reason year in and year out. So that hasn't changed, in my opinion, at all this year. It is, for me. It's when I go through the list of quarterbacks, there's like no – I mean – if you want to tell me, do you think Jaden Daniels is a first-round draft pick? I'll humor you, okay? I will entertain the thought. I don't think he is. If he was, he wouldn't be playing his 6th year of college football, okay? So I don't think he is, and he is right now. Breaking news: when we do our SEC quarterback rankings, as we do every week, when we do that next hour, he's going to be my number 1 ranked quarterback in the conference. I don't know what he is. I mean, I don't know if he's an NFL superstar. It doesn't look like that, but he's putting up great numbers, and he's accurate, and he's a great athlete, and he's a great college quarterback. But that's it. And Spencer Rattler's playing great, but he's getting sacked every time he's turning around. So what are you going to do with that football team? They're starting 2 freshmen at tackle. So, yeah, the SEC's down this year because the quarterback play is down this year. Everyone expected Joe Milton. Hell, there was Joe Milton Heisman hype this offseason, and he's come out and laid duds. Okay, so – you want the conference to be better, have better quarterback play.
I mean, just have better overall play. I think, like you said, defenses, you shouldn't be giving up 700 yards of offense. To no disrespect to Jackson Dart, but Ole Miss, I don't think, should be able to put 700 yards of offense on your defense. That's just not acceptable as an SEC team.
I'm reading comments, so go ahead.
I don't know. It's I think it's just kind of a weird year in general, but at the same time, like about the schedule, specifically about Georgia's schedule, Kirby Smart doesn't have to come out here and defend that because every team that is ranked on Georgia's schedule right now deserves to be ranked. So I think it more so, if anything, maybe it was just Kirby Smart, just like you said, kind of caught off guard with the question.
I mean, he had no idea what he didn't
he straight up said was like, I really have no idea what you're asking me. But
yeah.
Do you have the audio from it? Or?
We just played it.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, dude, I'm running cameras.
Bro, it's all good. We all got a bunch of shit going on.
Might be good. He straight up says, like, I really don't know what you're asking me. But what the question was and how it was phrased was basically like, what do you think about these teams that are now ranked after there was so much scrutiny over your schedule prior to the season starting?
Mark asked him what we talked about yesterday. Mark asked him, hey, preseason, y'all schedule was shit. Now, there's 3 teams on it that are ranked.
Now Missouri's undefeated.
Thoughts? That was the question.
Yeah.
And his response was, well, they all should be ranked. They all could beat us, essentially. Which if you were to transcribe it like that, instead of doing the quote graphic that people put out, where I think all SEC teams should be ranked, Yeah, of course people are going to jump on that. That's
sure.
that's dog food out there for the haters and the Twitter folks out there in the world. So, I thought it was a general Kirby Smart answer on a question like that.
For sure.
Confused by what the hell you mean, but I'm going to answer it anyways.
He's not going to talk down on anybody.
Yeah.
He's not going to. Yeah, he's just going to do this thing like, okay, yeah, everybody's good.
Well, I mean, yesterday he told us. Yesterday he was like, "Bro, all of college football sucks." He told us all of college football is bad. Do y'all not remember listening to yesterday's show? I mean, that's basically what he told us. He was like, "Bro, all of football is deteriorating right now. The house is crumbling. Like it's all getting worse." No. So there you go. Hey, this is an interesting segment. We don't have a lot of time to knock it out, but I think we should knock it out anyways. Here's how we're going to play this. Okay. The segment is, does Georgia have to win out to make a playoff? And here's the situation. Every single conference champion, except for Florida State, is a one-loss champion. So let's just name somebody. Let's just, for brand's sake, let's say USC is the one-loss Pac-12 champion. Everybody write this down. USC. 12-1. Everybody got it down? Everybody got it down? All right.
Yep.
Well, they had a conference championship game.
12-1.
Right. All right. Then we got Ohio. Let's just say Ohio State again. Name brands. 12-1. All right. Who else we got? We got the Big 12 champ. Let's call Texas 12-1. All right. And then the SEC champ is Georgia at 12-1 somehow. Okay. Let's say they lose some game down the stretch. Doesn't matter. But they are 12-1. You have those 4 teams, and then Florida State. Looks like they're going to win out. Okay, if they handle business, they're going to be favored by at least 4 or 5 points, multiple touchdowns in most games the remainder of the year. Florida State wins out. Okay, they are an undefeated ACC champ. So we're going to go ahead and put FSU at 1. Now, boys, make the argument or tell me how the rest of this is going to shake out, because I'm going to tell you right now, as an unbiased observer, USC going 12-1 in their schedule is far, far more impressive than you going 12-1 in yours. Ohio State going 12-1 in their schedule, I wouldn't say it's far more impressive than yours, but they're going to have 2 top 10 wins, or 1 top 10 win, and you'll have 0 if they do that. Texas going 12-1, a win over Alabama, and presumably a loss to Oklahoma at some point. That's a pretty damn good slate that looks slightly better than your 12-1. So I lay that out to you guys. Does Georgia now have to win out with all of the, because of all of the parity right now, with there actually being 9 or 10 teams in the middle of the season that we think could survive their slate?
It all just depends on the losses. And it also depends on the timing of the losses, how you lose those football games, and like I said, when they occur. Because we've kind of seen, whether it's admitted or not, there is somewhat kind of a recency bias when it comes to losses as it gets down the stretch and it gets closer to the college football playoff. Like if you lose a game the week prior to college football playoff, that tends to burden you a lot more than if you lost a game in week 8 or something like that.
Well,
but
here's the scenario. USC and Oregon go 1-1. USC loses at Oregon. They meet in the Pac-12 championship. USC beats them.
So they're
both
loss.
12-1. What do? Do both of those teams get in over Georgia? Again, if the loss is this weekend, or if the loss is Tennessee, 100%. But if the loss is in the SEC championship game, we have a whole nother.
I think it's
this is a lot easier of a question to answer when the CFP rankings come out, because
we
right
get
now
to see what they feel.
Because
about
right
these
now,
guys.
as it stands, no, Georgia would get in over USC because they're ranked 9th right now. USC's undefeated. Georgia's valued as 8 places higher than that.
That's
so no,
a tremendous.
USC
take.
wouldn't get in. Then you have all these other points. So Georgia is still viewed as the number 1 team right now. Now that might change when the CFP rankings come out. So I think that's what you have to wait on.
This is why I brought in other voices, because my dumbass wouldn't have thought about this. I always look at the CFP rankings as, who gives a shit? It'll figure itself out in November. Dude, this year they are far more important than ever, because that first ranking, like you're saying, we're going to get to see how they thought of this first 5-game slate. And this first 5-game slate really is going to impact, how you won and how you played against who you played and how they end up finishing that season. It's going to play a drastic role in who's 2, 3, and 4 come December.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance that Georgia's undefeated come CFP rankings and they're the 4th-ranked team, just because Texas gets valued higher than that. Ohio State, all these other teams that have won out as well.
Mm-hmm.
CFP, the committee looks at that and says, okay, that's why Tennessee got ranked number 1 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia didn't do anything wrong. I mean,
They didn't have the win.
They had close games with Missouri and things like that, but they got dropped because Tennessee looked that much more impressive at the time.
You got
So
any more thoughts?
I think this is something we have to wait till the CFP rankings come out to answer, because if
Which
they
is 2 more weeks?
It's
more.
first week of November,
Yeah.
right?
Because if you got an 8-0 Georgia and they've gone from 1 to 5, then you got to go, oh shit, that might be an issue. But I also think that having 5 one-loss conference champion teams is going to be so unlikely that I don't see that happening. And the SEC has never
Gotten one
The
in.
SEC's never not gotten one in.
You're right.
That's what I get hung up on. I find it really, really hard to believe that a one-loss SEC team doesn't get in there.
Yeah. I mean, I've always found that the CFP rankings, I mean, obviously, they're a little bit more Power 5 friendly than the AP Top 25, which means when we actually do get CFP rankings, I bet there's more SEC teams ranked than there are in the AP Top 25.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
I was about to make a joke. Anyways, we got another hour over on NBR. Make sure you come and show up. We got a whole bunch of stuff. I got SEC quarterback rankings, and Georgia fans, you need to stick around because Carson Beck made a major leap this week because now we know. Hey, hit that like button on your way out.